Hello everyone! So I'm very, very excited to welcome my next special guest. Take a listen.
My name is Amberley Snyder, and I am a barrel racer and motivational speaker. So I am the only paralysed barrel racer in the entire United States. It's kind of I guess we can tell how much of the story I want to tell. I don't know if you want me to tell that now or later.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell it now. Yeah, go for it, and we'll tell it later.
I'll just tell a short version. I've ridden horses my whole life, and from the Junior Rodeo days up into high school. By my senior year of high school, I was a world all-around champion, and then my life very much changed the year after that in 2010 when I was involved in a rollover truck accident, leaving me paralyzed from the waist down. Wow. Since nobody did what I did, there was no resource, there was no somebody I could call to learn or figure out how to ride again, but I was able to get back in the saddle and started competing 18 months after that day. And like I said, I'm the only one that competes in the barrel racing. So it's been pretty cool. I was able to start being a motivational speaker as well, getting to share my story, of how I've been able to triumph over the tragedy and the little victories that get to come along the way with that.
Amazing. Wow. That's amazing. We're going to touch on everything that you just said, but let's go back to the beginning. So where does your love of riding and horses come from?
So I didn't actually get raised, in a horse family. My mom had a horse when she was younger, but didn't get to compete. When she saw that I had an interest in horses, she wanted to make it possible for me. So at 3 years old, I started riding lessons in California, and of course, just absolutely loved it. When I turned 7, I got to start competing in rodeo in Utah, and that, just made the passion even bigger.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. So have you always loved animals in general, or is it just horses?
I think I've always had the love for animals. I think that's a given. It doesn't matter what it was. I loved it. Unless it's slimy or creepy crawly. I don't really love those things.
Yeah.
But if it's like a real animal, like my horses, my dogs, my cat, I'm good with that stuff.
Yeah. So how many horses do you have now?
I actually only have 5 right now. Okay. So I've downsized a little bit so that I can have a little more manageable on what I have and what I can ride, manage my herd.
So do you ride all 5 of those?
I actually only ride, 2 or 3 of the 5 is what I ride. One of them is retired. My old retired rope horse, my black horsepower, I can ride, but he usually lives at my mom's. She likes him. And then I have 2 barrel horses and a yearling. So I'll ride the yearling next year. So I'll be up to 3 for sure next year.
Amazing. So what do you think is the best thing about riding horses?
For me, it's just the love and the freedom you get to have with it. The bond you get to have with the horse is, I think, one of the strongest bonds you'll find in your life. A horse doesn't have to do anything you ask them to do, but they choose to. And I think the value of that is pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. I started riding horses only a year or so ago. I'm very, very new to it, and everyone always said, "Oh, you're too old. Don't. You've got to have done it from when you were little. Like, don't do it now." And I was quite scared of it, to be honest with you, because it's very much out of my comfort zone. And
I think you can start it whenever. I think when horses are in your blood, they're always in your blood.
Yeah, and they do. There's a connection between you and the horse that you don't get with people.
You really don't. I think that's what I think is so special, is that if you find those horses that you connect with, that is a bond that is almost undescribable, right? Because unless you have it, I don't think you can understand or even explain it to someone else.
Yeah, 110%. So take us back then before your accident, and you said that you were like a world champion. What?
Yeah, I was pretty I guess lucky and blessed that my hard work, through high school and junior high finally was able to pay off. When my senior year of high school, I won a world all around title and, had felt like, okay, I've kind of got myself together. I've been competing in what I want to compete in and excelling at it. And that is so rewarding when you love something so much and your hard work has paid off. I mean, it's kind of an undescribable love.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did your accident change things then for you in that sense then? Are you unable to compete in the same types of things, or are you basically doing the same stuff?
That's what's so crazy is because I'm the only one, there is no category that's different.
Yeah.
I compete with everyone and anyone.
Incredible.
And I've actually done more now for the fact of, I pro rodeo now and not just the barrel races and in the younger divisions because I was young at the time. So
yeah,
I actually do more now than even what I did prior to.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So for people watching, I mean, like, we're in the UK, so we don't, this is not something particular that kind of we specialize in. So tell the people that are watching from the UK and places that maybe don't have rodeo, in a nutshell, what is it? What do you do?
So competing in rodeo, there's a lot of events. I think we'll just talk about the barrel racing. Probably would be the easiest. But they're all set up in the arena, and you run around them in a clover leaf pattern. The fastest time wins. I mean, it's definitely a race on a horse, and it's pretty intense, because not only is it a straight line in the race, but it's going around barrels, and that makes it even more challenging and even can be dangerous at times because of that. But I mean, it's just a combination of speed and horses, and hopefully the team all works together.
Yeah, incredible. So how many people do you train with then for that? Is there a big group of you, or because it's an individual race? So, but are there, do you work with a big team?
I feel like that I have mentors and people that I get to visit with. Like my little sister rodeos with me, and of course we talk through all of my runs with her. I have a coach that has helped me since I was little, and we talked through, actually even just this morning, she was sending me runs. She went to a barrel race yesterday, and so she was sending me runs from that and about how those had gone. I mean, you have people that you talk to and discuss and work on what went well, what could go better. Yeah, I mean, it takes a team to do what we do.
So talk about times then. What is the average time that it would take you to do something like that? You're talking seconds, right?
Absolutely. Everything is down to the hundredths of a second. That is what is so crazy with barrel racing, is it is down to the hundredths of a second. It's so quick. They have what they call a standard set. Okay. So a standard set is going to be 60 feet between the timer and the first barrel.
Okay.
90 feet across between your first and your second barrel, and 105 feet to the third barrel. So that is what you would call a standard set, what you're going to see at the majority of pro rodeos.
Yeah.
And on those patterns, you're going to run 17 seconds. Of course, there are smaller patterns where you're going to run 13 and 14 seconds, but during the majority of the time, you look at like 17 seconds.
Wow. See, like, you're describing the distance, and I'm thinking that's quite far. That's quite far in between that one and that one. 17 seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy on that concept, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing like how fast, like, you would just ride your horse, like, if you just told your horse to, like, right, let's canter, and how fast then that is. That's insane.
It really is when you think about the distance that you cover. I mean, your horses are going, and I know you're going to have to decide how to calculate this into kilometers per hour, but I mean, they're going 35, 40 miles an hour in a barrel race. So your horses are not going slow. I mean, they're definitely cruising.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's insane. So how do you kind of like train and practice for something like that?
I mean, your horse, there's definitely going to be horses that are better at it, just like people. I mean, it wouldn't matter what I did. I was never going to become a professional basketball player, right? Like, that's just not something I was made for. Horses are the same way. Some of them are meant to do it, and we breed them in order to try to put that in our favor. And then it's a lot of time. I mean, your horse will start training horses at 2 years old and they're not ready to run till they're 5. So it's a 3-year process just to get them started.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like they really get solid till they're 10 or 11 or 12. So, I mean, you're committing a lot of time to get them to that place, and a lot of effort in the training. Everyone has different training methods on what you do with your horses and where you put them and how you ride them. But I mean, either way, regardless of how you do it, you're dedicating a lot of time.
Yeah. So do you just like, when you're having a day off, do you still ride your horse? Do you just go out for, for a hack just because, or do you go, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to leave the horse and I'm going to do something else. Or is it always going back to that horse?
Both. I think it's both, because even if you're not running, they have to stay in shape. My good horse, like the one that I pro rodeo on, we barely even practice the barrels. He doesn't need them. He knows his job. He knows what to do. So, but I have to keep him in shape. I mean, just like he's an athlete. So I have to keep him in shape and have him in a place that he can compete at the best of his ability. But I will admit, there are days that I'm like, all right, day off from the horses. And of course, you still go out and you feed them and take care of them. There is no day off. But I mean, even today, well, my horses aren't here today, but sometimes there are where I'm like, all right, today I'm going to go to, watch my brother do this, or today I'm going to go here, or today I might just take a mental day off. I mean, we all need just those chill, regardless of what we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you said then that the horses are very much, like you say, like athletes. So do you feed them different things? Like obviously with athletes, when they're training, they're on a strict diet, right? Is that the same with the horse?
Very much is the same with a horse. It's actually kind of a crazy concept. I think my horses eat better than I eat, because I want to make sure that they are so healthy and at the top of their game every time we go in the arena.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to the accident you said there. What adaptations and things have you had to make then? Because obviously that changed your life and your riding forever, right?
It definitely did. Definitely, my whole life is very much different, and my riding is the biggest part. I have a seat belt on my saddle, and then I have Velcro straps and a couple buckles, and my feet rubber banded in. I have all of these pieces that make it possible for me to ride. And I don't even know if it's the most ideal, but I mean, I'm the only one that came up with it. So far, it's what's working, and I don't complain about it.
Yeah. So have you ever had anyone say to you about it? Well, they've had a similar injury, or that they have some sort of disability, so that they can't ride as others would, and seek help and advice from yourself?
Yes, actually, I get those messages at least once a week, if not a couple times during the week, of people who, whether they know, they themselves want to be able to ride, or they know someone, or someone recently got in an accident and they want to know what they can help them with. I get those messages a lot. I share my setup with quite a few people and hope that they get to be able to have the freedom back on a horse that I've been able to discover. There's so much freedom and joy that comes from the horses, that those people would understand as much as I do, right? That any of us who find that freedom in those horses, you really treasure what they give us. I feel like all of your anxieties and your worries and the day-to-day stress gets to be put on pause.
Hugely. I feel like they subconsciously know.
I agree. No, they for sure know. I know when I go out there, my horses know if I was upset or if I'm happy or if things are going well. I'm sure that they all talk about it like, oh gosh, she's upset today. Everyone handle her with care, because she's in a very bad place today.
Yeah.
I'm sure they talk about it.
Absolutely. Your goals and your achievements then, do you think they've changed since your accident, or do you think you're more driven than ever now?
I think that it's kind of both, right? Because obviously goals had to kind of make a shift. I don't feel like that they went away. The goals that I've had have stayed the same, but I do realize the timeline to get to them, or even what I feel like it's going to look like to get to them, is different. So a little bit of both. Like there's some things that have stayed the same and some things that have changed. I feel like that I realize I have a purpose that's bigger than me. It's not all about what can I accomplish, but it's who can I influence and who can I inspire along the way. I mean, my speaking was a career change that I never foresaw. I didn't really think that was going to be a part of my life, but I love it. I didn't know if I'd love anything as much as my horses, and I love speaking. So I mean, it's all the above, right? You take the shift and you grow from it and you still do whatever makes you happy.
Absolutely. So talk about the speaking then. What what do you enjoy most about it, and how big have your audience has been? I mean, I've researched some of your work. It's huge.
Well, it's actually kind of crazy that the way that speaking came about.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, well, today I'm going to be a speaker, or today I'm going to now inspire people. It was just, I started getting asked to speak, and I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I might as well become good at it, and really tried to put in the effort and the time and pay attention to my audiences. And now I speak anywhere from, elementary schools, all the little tiny kids, up into an entire business corporation. It's whatever and all of the above. I've spoke of groups that are 10 people, and I've spoke of groups that are 10,000 people. So it's really been fun to do that. But I think that has a lot of things I think built on each other, right? Being able to get back into horses and starting to speak, and then running in the American Rodeo in 2015, then the movie coming out with Netflix. I mean, all of these things I feel like have built on each other to really create, honestly, a very fun life. I get to have a very fun life.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk us through the movie then. I mean, was that just insane?
It still is. I'm going to be honest. It still is. Like, on occasion, somebody will say, they'll come up and they'll tell me something about me to me. And I'm like, how do you know that? And they'll be like, well, I watched Walk Ride Rodeo. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Because there is a movie. You guys can actually watch a movie.
Yeah.
So that kind of is insane to even still think about. I don't think anyone, I don't know, maybe there are people in the world that know they will have a movie about them one day, but I was not that person.
Yeah. But so how were you approached for that? How was that approach to you? Did someone just say to you one day, like, yeah, we're going to do this, or was it a process like that was thought up by yourself? How did that come about?
Oh, I actually did not want to do a movie. When they approached me and wanted to do it, I said no. I said that's not what I want to do. This was hard enough on my family the first time. Yeah, I don't think we need to do a movie. So anyway, I was talked into it, and the script was written. It took a couple of years though before we got Netflix involved. It was actually 4 years in before Netflix got on board and decided to fund the movie. And then I felt like it was fast. It was like, once Netflix says, yep, we're doing it, we filmed like 3 months later, filmed for 6 weeks, and then, 5 weeks. And then it came out the next year. It was so crazy how fast it all unfolded once it got started.
Yeah, absolutely. And do people kind of like recognize you from it? Do people go, hang on, is that your story? Is that what,
Yes, they actually do. It's kind of funny when I meet people, and they won't always remember my name, right? They won't remember who I am, but they'll be like, are you the girl like on Netflix? Like the Walk Ride Rodeo girl? And sometimes they'll say that, and other times they'll be like, she barrel races. Or what's even funnier is if people don't know, and they'll meet me, and I'll tell them, I'm a barrel racer, and they're like, really? It was so crazy. I just watched a movie about a girl, and she was like a barrel racer, and it was on Netflix, and it was like, and I'm like, really? Was it good? Like, was it a good movie? And
that's brilliant.
Kind of crack me up, because they'll like tell me all about my movie, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good movie. I'll go check it out. Like,
that's wonderful. So tell us about Christmas. Is that a season, a holiday, a festivity you enjoy?
Yes, I really, really do. My house is already decorated for Christmas. So, and not that I skip Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is really important, but especially that I go to a different state. I go to Arizona in the winter.
Okay.
I actually fly out tomorrow. So I'm only going to be in my house for a little bit of time. And so I'm like, I had to change from fall to Christmas a little bit early so I could feel the Christmas vibes. But yeah, I think that a time of the year where people all of a sudden, I feel like their hearts are more open. People are wanting to help others and be more giving, which I wish we were like all year round.
I know.
But it's just, I love the way that feels during Christmas, that everyone wants to be with family and they really want to give, and I love that part.
Amazing. So you fly out to Arizona tomorrow?
Yes, I drove my horses down on Monday, but I flew back for a clinic. So I actually fly out tomorrow, and then I will be committed to there until the snow melts here.
So is there loads of snow? Where are you?
I'm in Utah right now.
So it's loads of snow.
There's not snow right now,
Okay.
but it's actually show up like tomorrow, maybe. So I think I'm flying out right at the right time. So we'll see how that goes.
Amazing. So will you be spending your Christmas with your family then? And what are the traditions that you guys have?
Yes, I will. I will come back for Christmas here. We always open up pajamas on Christmas Eve. That is one of our traditions. And then all of us siblings, none of us are married. There's 6 kids in my family.
Wow.
And none of us are married yet, so we all do come home together and get to celebrate Christmas together. Of course, we love food in my house, so we do all out meals for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. You know, we get to do those fun things. I don't know. We always end up watching a Christmas movie together. I mean, just the family time.
Yeah, it's super important, isn't it? And just the little things that you kind of make together that become your traditions. And when you're talking to people, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but it means a lot to you, doesn't it? That you can still do that every year.
It absolutely does.
So before we go, let's just talk quickly about quarantine and what is it that you guys have been doing, have been allowed to do while you've been quarantining? Have things changed for you? Hopefully things have kind of carried on. What have you been up to?
Quarantine has been interesting, right? Which I'm sure everybody says. I'm sure that is how everybody starts to talk about it. As a speaker, it's been pretty tough. You can't talk to groups when groups are not allowed to gather. So that has been a challenge. I actually took a shift during quarantine and spent a lot of time on like my physical growth. So I started doing CrossFit and working out every day, which I have never done in my whole life. So I started doing that to try to just get in physically a better place. I was able to spend quite a bit of time with my horses, so that was excellent. I've got to travel a little more now. I've been able to speak at a few different places. One of the funniest things I listened to or heard or something over quarantine is they said at the end of quarantine, if there's something you haven't done, it wasn't, time wasn't the problem to get it done.
Yes.
And I have completely agreed with that because there are some things that have been on my to-do list that even after quarantine, they are still on my to-do list. And I'm like, I probably really am not getting to those things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if time was an issue, then.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I saw something very similar where it was like, before quarantine, we just wanted time. We wanted time to get things done and, time to like really get sorted with ourselves. Now we've had all this time, I'm still not sorted. It's like, well, really, you're very right.
Time isn't the issue.
No. And I think that goes back to like, what we've been talking about, the commitment and the hours that you put in. And, if you really want to do it, if you really want to succeed, it doesn't matter what obstacle is put in your way. And whether things do take that little bit longer, like you're going to do it. If you really want to do it, then you will do it. And those things that maybe you tell yourself, I really want to do that. If you still haven't done it, when literally there are no obstacles in your way and you've got all this free time, then really, it's not worth it. You don't.
It's probably not. That is exactly how I feel. And I feel like quarantine should make all of us take a step back and realize what means the most and where we want to put our time.
110%. So my last question for you is, what's next for you? Coming 2021, what have you kind of got plans? What kind of things kind of on the tick list, competitions? What is it that you want to see happen in 2021 for you?
I really hope that speaking comes back. I really do. I have missed that so much. I mean, I have missed rodeos, but I even think I've missed speaking more because I can still at least be riding my horses. So I have missed being able to meet people and hear their stories and share that love with them. So I hope that gets to, in whatever way. I don't know how we get it back, but I hope that we get to do that, that our world gets to be healthier and that is an option. Of course, I'll be back into barrel racing. So there's a couple rodeo goals I have this year, depending on what pro rodeos come back or not. Man, I don't know. Maybe I'll find the love of my life in 2021. I mean, that could be exciting. Who knows?
I'm hoping too.
I'm like, let's shoot for the stars. Like, let's go with that. I mean, who knows? I feel like there's a lot of fun things coming up. I have a video series that's actually coming up the beginning of 2021. So that will be fun to show. My charity is now up and running, so I'll get to build a little more on that.
Oh, excellent.
There's some things in the works.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Have you found that during quarantine, you've been able to jump on some things that maybe because of your schedule you just couldn't before, start the ball things?
Absolutely. Now, my book is one of those that I'm not sure if quarantine really helped me write, because it didn't. I did work on it a couple days, but not near what I was supposed to. So it's one of those, I'm like, man, do I not want to write the book? I think I do. I think I want to write it, but obviously I'm more motivated to do other things. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a work in progress. You have to just keep work on it a bit, put it on the side, work on it a bit, put it on the side, sometimes. Yeah, and also with something like that, it's you want it to be right first time. You don't want to release it and then go, do you know what, 5 years down the line, what was I even thinking? Rather take it 5 years time to do it and you be happy with it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to tell myself that. That's why it's taking me so long. I want to get it right the first time.
Absolutely. Well, you take care of yourself. I've had such a wonderful time chatting with you. Thank you so much for opening time in your diary, because I know you've been super busy.
Well, thank you. And thanks for thinking of me to have me on.
No worries at all. It's been amazing. You know what? I've interviewed nearly 100 people from all over the world in all different aspects of life, all different. So from Broadway performers, West End, doctors, you name it, anybody and everybody that me personally, I find extraordinarily interesting and that I would love to chat to, that I think other people would just love to hear about. So thank you so much for being part of it.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, what I'll do is I'll send you the link when it goes up on the channel, and then if you want to share it and stuff, that'd be amazing.
Perfect. Count me in.
Amazing. Well, you take care of yourself, and I'd love to keep in touch. We'll chat again another time.
Hopefully I get to come over and speak there at some point, and that would be even more fun.
That would be incredible. Have you ever been to the UK?
I haven't.
Oh, do it. Come 2021.
Okay, that's the plan. That's what I need to do. You know what I really should do? I need to get invited on Love Island over in UK. They just need to bring over an American, and I'll just be on that.
Yeah, and then you can stay and do all sorts of chatting and everything. That will be your gateway.
Yeah.
Amazing. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon.
You too. Bye.
Best wishes. Bye.
I had such a wonderful time. Thank you so much, Amberley. Take care, everyone. Another brilliant guest on the way. Lots of love. Bye.